It'll be home sweet home for 5 in a row, and the orange and blue will try to winnie against Mini. We get you set for the Oilers and the Wild on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the pregame show. Tom Gazzola with you inside the EST Satellite Studios in beautiful downtown Edmonton, just outside of Ice District. You got Ben Thomson back at EST Global HQ and Shawn Belle also at the EST Satellite Studios, aka my kitchen, this evening. He'll be joining us in a couple of minutes. Well done. Was it Ice 256 nailing it that Bellsy was in the kitchen, and I could hear Bellsy laughing actually, and he goes, "Oh, someone knew I was here." So that's good stuff. We'll get to Bellsy right away. We'll get to Benny right away as I let you know that GCL Diesel are providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. You can join the conversation. Text us 780-218-9999, making your way to the rink perhaps, or your way home, or you're just listening, or you're just watching. We appreciate that very much. Of course, if you are on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button, and you could jump into the nasty chat as we welcome in Bellsy and Benny. The Oilers 11-10-5, the Wild 14-7-5, red hot with Jesper Wallstedt between the pipes, who we'll see tonight. Boys, how we doing? Bellsy, how's the kitchen treating you? Is it comfortable? Are you good?
Yeah.
You need anything?
Fantastic. It's nice. If I
Mi casa es su casa.
I'll head to the fridge.
Yes, indeed. Benny, how's everything going at EST HQ?
It's good. It's good. The boys, the Reed Wilkins show just wrapped up, and they're getting out of here. Reed just made his way over, or is making his way over to the rink. Just got studio to myself tonight. It'll be all great, and hopefully watching an Oilers win at home. Hopefully, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, one thing they haven't done a lot this season is string wins together, so perhaps they get that going tonight. Bellsy, speaking of them getting it going, I mean, step in the right direction, I think is fair to say, on Saturday when they won 4-0 in Seattle. But what did they do well that led them to the success that they had on Saturday?
I think they just played a really sound game. Like, they didn't give up a ton of chances. They weren't turning over the puck as much. They played a really good road game, and credit to them. They capitalized when they got the chances, and it was very neat and tidy, and it was good to see them play a good game, because now that makes 3 of 4. Yes, obviously there was that tough game against Dallas, but I mean, Hey, maybe they've turned the corner. It's something we'll talk about here in a bit. But 3 or 4 games, they played pretty good hockey, and hopefully they can keep that going.
This text comes in from Minty. He says, "Hey, Tommy, I think it's unconscionable that you didn't allow Benny to have the night off to play tonight's game with the Didsbury Dairy Farmers. Ball hockey is a real sport and deserves our full attention. Shame on you."
Boys.
Signed, Minty. Minty, welcome.
My boys are in a playoff game in the parking lot, basically, right over here.
Oh, no.
6:30 game. We're up 1-0 in the series, thankfully, but we are short on guys tonight. So, not ideal. They've been telling me, "Tell Tom to screw off and come play ball hockey." And I was like, guys, I gotta please the big man. So, I wish them luck tonight. They're missing some guys, but judging off of how game 1 went, I'm pretty confident they'll win today.
Good luck to Minty and the Didsbury Dairy Farmers in their organized cardio event this evening. All right, let's get into the lines for tonight. For the Oilers, McDavid between Savoy and Hyman, Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Mangiapane, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with Henrique and Janmark, Lazar between Frederick and Clattenburg. Connor Clattenburg, man, good impact in his first couple NHL games. Nice to see. On defense for the Oil, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Regula, Kulak with Emberson, no David Tomashek. As for the Minnesota Wild, Ryan Hartman between Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Zuccarello, Joel Eriksson X centering Marcus Johansson and Matt Boldy, Nico Sturm centering Yakov Trenin and Vladimir Tarasenko. Boy, he's bounced around a lot the last few years. And then Ben Jones centering Liam Ogren and former Oiler Tyler Pitlick. On defense, Jonas Brodin with Brock Faber, Jacob Middleton with Jared Spurgeon, Zeev Byam with Zach Bogosian, And your starting goalies for tonight, 27-year-old Stu Skinner between the pipes for the Oilers, 9-7-3 with a 3.0 goals against average, 885 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 19 games this season. Skinner versus the Wild, a 2-2 record, 304 goals against average, 900 save percentage in the 4 games he's played against Mini over the course of his career. And then at the other end of the rink, it is the guy that Oil Country coveted, but they didn't draft. 23-year-old Jesper Wallstedt, 7-0-2 with a 193 goals against average, 938 save percentage, and 3 shutouts in 9 games this season. 1 shutout every 3 appearances for Wallstedt. He will face Edmonton for the first time in his career. That takes us to the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You have a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today, www.advantagesportmed.ca, or call 780-460-9977. For the Oilers, Jack Roslovic, Jake Wallman, Noah Philp, LTIR, upper body. Kasperi Kapanen suffered that setback last week with the knee injury, also on LTIR. As for the Minnesota Wild, Marco Rossi, IR lower body, Marcus Foligno, IR lower body, and Vinny Hinostroza, IR lower body. To talk about the Wild in a little bit, we'll be joined by Sarah McClellan from the Star Tribune, Edmonton girl who made her way down to Phoenix, covered the Coyotes for a while, and is now in Minnesota. All right, Belzy and Benny, this lineup for the Oilers, I mean, don't change what worked for you on Saturday. Anything stand out to you, Shawn, first about this lineup and the reinsertion of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins?
No, I think that having Nuge at center, I think, is a good thing. He's a valuable player. He brings more skill to that third line. And you look at the lineup and it looks just a little bit more balanced. And, it's not you're trying to just put him there to make McDavid happy or to get him points. It looks a little bit more responsible because one thing that Nuge is, he's a responsible hockey player. So to me, I like the lineup, especially with the 3 centers, McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins. It kind of reminds me, and keyword kinda, reminds me of when Pittsburgh was running Crosby, Malkin, and Stahl down the middle when they were winning those cups.
Yeah. Benny, anything you want to point out before we go into game changers?
Yeah, no, honestly, it's I'm happy that Knobloch is continuing with the same lineup. I've been a big believer in coaches sticking with the roster that's won them a game. And they had a good one against Seattle, a dominant one. So I don't see a need to change until someone becomes healthy where they got to make a change up. But I was happy with their lines today.
All right. Let us know your thoughts. 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat. Benny, do you have a question of the night you want to get to as well?
Yeah, so there's been a lot of talk about Jesper Wallstedt, right? Because the Oilers moved down in the 2022 draft, I want to say.
Yeah.
And they drafted Bourgault. He's not even in the organization anymore. My question is, Stuart Skinner has had a big bounce back game compared to what he had in Dallas against Seattle. Does that play continue, and does Skinner beat what the should have been Oilers goalie in Jesper Wallstedt tonight? Who do you think will have the better showing between the 2 goalies tonight is the question.
Ooh, Belzy, you go first.
I mean, that's a tough question. Wallstedt's playing unbelievable, but I'm going to point out, was he going to be the pick of the Edmonton Oilers?
Nope.
So
there you go.
He was never going to be here. Anyway, I think it's the way that he's been playing. He's giving the Wild opportunities to win. Hence why I believe they're 8-0-2 in their last 10 games. Like, he's playing outstanding hockey. There's 3 shutouts somewhere in that mix of the last 10 games. So it's hard to obviously bet against what he's currently doing. But Skinner's been playing a little bit better. So if the Oilers are able to do what they did in Seattle, to kind of replicate that game, maybe kick it up a slight notch, but what they've been doing the last 4 games against good hockey teams, all like the Dallas game, they played some good hockey, and they played against really good hockey teams, and you got another really good test with the Minnesota Wild. So can you limit the chances? Can you have a little bit more commitment to the detail? Can you limit the turnovers? Can you have more energy in your game? Something that Connor Clattenburg has definitely given the Oilers to get a little bit of spark. So can you bring that? And play a really sound game against a Wild team that is doing really well, and they're hard out.
How do I feel about this goaltending matchup? Wallstedt is super hot. This team was just on a 7-game heater. They lost an OT to Buffalo of all teams. I'll say no, Benny. Like, I want to be positive. I really do.
You have been positive at times this year. It's been
really? Well, it was pointed out that I wasn't when I really was, and somebody took offense and made a big stink out of it. So,
abort.
What?
Don't start that conversation again.
I'm just saying. Somebody was very upset that I said something that they didn't like.
Were you made aware of that today?
No. Although my brother did bring it up in Calgary. He's always a day late and a dollar short, but yeah. So anyway, we're past this now. I'll say no. I'll say it'll be a good game though. I'll say it's going to be a tight game. Listen, man, it would be great if they strung some wins together, but they're going to have to bring their A game against a really strong Minnesota team that's been playing good hockey and just. Given the body of work this year, suggests that they usually don't. So that's unfortunate. That's just a fact. And hopefully I'm wrong. So there you go. That's my answer to the question of the night. Let us know your thoughts. Benny, fire it out there one more time for our audience.
Who is going to win the goalie battle tonight between Jesper Wallstedt and Stuart Skinner? Let us know.
Matt Hyman pointing out it's Jesper.
All right.
Jesper. Oh, boy.
Jesper.
Soft J's, those Swedes. Mm-hmm. Soft J's. All right, let's dive into Game Changers with our game analyst, Shawn Belle. Game Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for almost 19 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, damonbunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. And Bellsy wants to get to it right off the top. Number one, get to Jesper.
You got to get to Jesper. I mean, he's been playing unbelievable hockey. His save percentage is stuff of legend right now. No, it's not stuff of legend, but it's
damn
really
good.
He's got multiple shutouts. Like, he's just been a very steadying force in the net. But luckily, the Oilers have elite shooters, and they have guys that have been able to make goaltenders who have been on hot streaks look very ordinary and very marginal. Mm-hmm. Sounds cliche, but you're going to have to get pucks and bodies to the net. You're going to have to make the right plays, get pucks up, and shoot the puck. One of the things that we've seen from the Oilers when they weren't scoring but goals in bunches is they tried to make that extra pass. But now that they're shooting the puck a little bit more, they're starting to score. And for the Oilers in this game, you have to find a way to get to Jesper, because if he's going to see that puck, he's going to stop that puck.
Yeah.
And that's just what he's done over the course of his all very short career, but that's what he's been doing so far in his career. So make sure, once again, it's very cliche, but pucks, bodies to the net, take away his eyes, and just have, greasy goals, and then allow some of your elite shooters to do what they do best. He
is yet to lose this season in regulation with that 7-0-2 mark, and lifetime. He got some action, I think, last year, made his NHL debut through 14 games in the NHL. Wallstedt 9-3-2, 245 goals against average, 918 save percentage, and 4 shutouts. We'll see if they can get to Jesper tonight. A text came in. I want to read it. And it says, he wasn't the pick. That just proves how dumb the Oilers scouts were /are and why the pipeline is empty. Yeah, just a quick refresher. They wanted Kosa. Kosa went to Detroit, and the Oilers, among a few teams, had some questions in regard to the character, personality of Wallstedt, and I don't think that's a issue right now for the Minnesota Wild as they continue to ride the hot hand. So that's just a refresher how it went down. That's what we were told when the Oilers traded down and picked Xavier Bourgault, who, as Benny alluded to, is no longer with the organization and actually was released by the Ottawa Senators this offseason. Yeah, so during training camp, I think it was. So not good. Bellsy, you want to get to something else? You want to add to that, or do you want to go to point number 2?
Let's go to point number 2.
All right. I was like, oh, do you want to say anything else? Okay. That's a hot tamale. Don't touch it.
Yes, it is.
All right. Point number 2 of Game Changers. Belle, cool off the red hot Wild.
Okay, I found an interesting stat. And so when I was doing a little research, the goals per game that the Wild are scoring, it's 2.8. Their goals against per game are 2.7. When you look at that, you sit back and you say, that's it's average. Mm-hmm. But in this last 8-game stretch where they've been absolutely red hot, they've scoring 3.25 goals for, and they're giving up 1.6, which means, hey, good luck, because they are playing elite hockey right now. They're doing everything right, and it seems like they're doing everything right. So you got to find ways to slow this team down. We talked about it in the first point where you got to get to Jesper. Well, once again, cliched answer, get pucks, bodies to the net, because you got to make it a hard night for him. Mm-hmm. You can't just allow him to see every single puck. But the other piece of that puzzle is you also have to get to the Wild D. Their D is a very fleet of foot group. They're solid across the board. There's not really that many holes when you look at the defensive group with the Wild. So you got to get in on the forecheck. You got to hit them. You got to bang and crash. You've just got to make it a hard night for those opposing defensemen so that they start to turn over pucks. And once you have those turnover pucks, now you can obviously capitalize on it. And then on the flip side, if you're the Edmonton D, well, once again, limit chances. Mm-hmm. Make sure you're taking, guys in front of the net. Communicate. One of those things that, sounds crazy, but it can help solve a lot of issues, especially in the D zone, because they are scoring 3 goals a game and they're only giving up 1.6. Well, something's got to give. So you got to have a pretty sound and neat and tidy game tonight. So it's going to be a really tough task for the Edmonton Oilers.
I am smirking because as Belzey was going through point number 2 to cool off the red hot Wild, former Oiler first round pick Reed Schaefer scored his first NHL goal against the Calgary Flames. So 1-0
Nice.
Predators, and the Edmonton kid gets his first. So get the big smile on his face. Obviously, he was involved in that trade a couple of years ago, to get Matthias Ekholm. So
I don't think anyone's complaining about that one, but
Anyway, good for the kid.
That's a good trade.
Yeah,
good for him though.
Yeah, big poop eating grin on his face as he bangs home his first goal in the National Hockey League. Top of the crease, past Cooley, and slides it home. Nice hands in tight. Good for him, man. Anyway, I just thought that was funny as we were talking about prospects and first rounders, and oh, look at that. Reed Schaefer scores his first goal. All right, let's go to point number 3 of Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Point 1 was get to Jesper. Point 2, cool off the red hot Wild. Point number 3, Belzey, have those engines started.
Well, like we mentioned earlier, the last 4 games they played, 3 of them were pretty good. You played against the Tampa Bay Lightning, you played against the Florida Panthers, you played against obviously the Dallas Stars in a tough game, but then you went to Seattle in a team that is above you in the standings, and you played really good hockey. Is that a sign where these guys are now starting to get going? Because it is a time where you got to start making a move. And we've consistently talked about, hey, early season points, while yes, it's early season, they still matter on where you're going to place when you get to playoff time. And games like this, they're big. And you got to make sure that you can capitalize on it. It's a potential down the road playoff opponent, depending on what happens. So these are good tests, and they're big games. And you got to make sure that when you play these games, you can rise to the challenge and rise to the occasion. So it should be a really good hockey game. And the last time the Oilers were on home ice, obviously it was a tough one. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to rebound from it and have a much better showing and put on a really good game.
5-game homestand, Belzey, and you get that home cooking, you get to stay in your bed. They've been on the road so much this season. Do you think how beneficial do you think that this is going to be to actually stay at home for a little while here?
Well, I think there's opportunities to, get a little bit comfortable. Like some of these guys are they haven't been able to really move into their places.
Right.
right? Like if you think about Roslovic, for example, like I know exactly when he came into the city, his family moved in because once again, they're playing for our team with HC Edmonton. So they've kind of been all over the place. So now you get a chance to sit back and relax and get a little comfortable and, get acclimated with the city. And that's not truth for obviously every player, but there's something about home cooking that just, kind of heals all. And they've been on the road so much. It's go, go, go. And they haven't had a lot of time to practice. And that's the other thing that's going to be a benefit to the Oilers, because maybe they can solidify some of those systems that we've been talking about at nauseum. Maybe they can get, power play units back on track and just find your game when you have a little chance to rest and be at home.
Well said, Belzy. A couple of people saying Button didn't hear anything about character issues with Wallstedt. Listen, I'm not making crap up. I'm just telling you what I was told from multiple people within the organization at the time of the draft.
Well, I heard that interview this morning, so I can actually tell you exactly what he said. Okay. He said he didn't hear character issues, but there was character issues that was a rumor amongst multiple teams. He himself did not hear character issues. Mm-hmm. So he was sitting there saying, like, you should have drafted this guy because obviously he's a goaltender of the future, which I think we all agree with. You should have drafted him, but they wanted Kosa.
Yep.
Rumors were that there was character issues. So that's made teams shy away.
Yep. There you go.
Just to clarify exactly what was said.
Yeah. Details, guys. Details. Very important to listen. Also, I think Pagnotta brought it up too when we were talking to him on Hello Hockey, right? He mentioned it. And listen, I'm with everybody. I was flabbergasted. I'm like, well, good. Take that other goalie. Take the Swedish kid. And I was getting texts from people at the draft. They're like, we're not taking him. We're trading. I remember that. I'm like, what? Your goalie's like 40 years old and the other guy has a frying pan for a glove right now. Yeah. It ain't working. And so, they were pretty set on Kosa, and that's the way it went. And now we're going to watch Wallstedt put his winning ways on the line against the Oilers, yet to be defeated in regulation this season. Thank you for clarifying, Belzy. Appreciate that very much. Yeah. All right, Belzy, you're going to head over to the rink?
Not a problem.
You're heading to the rink?
Yeah, I'm going to go head over to the rink, and I'll see you up in the press box.
All right, sounds like a plan, my friend. That is Game Changers with our very own Shawn Belle. Bringing it tonight. Get to Jesper, cool off the red hot wild, and have the engines started. That is Game Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. You can text us, 780-218-9999. Jump to the nasty chat as well. This text says, keep building on 3 of the last 4. This is a big physical opponent. Maybe buzz the tower early with a little gamesmanship. Get the young goalie reeling a bit. Simple hockey, hard in front of both nets. Win board battles. Play fast. I like that text. That's coming out of Saskatchewan. Good text. Keep those coming in. 780-218-9999. Jump into the nasty chat. We're going to go inside the Oilers locker room. We're going to hear from head coach Chris Knobloch. And in about 5 minutes, we're going to catch up with our old friend, Sarah McClellan from the Star Tribune. Here is the head coach from earlier today.
The Minnesota Wild and the way they play and how that's going to test some of the work you've been doing defensively recently.
They've got a very good team, very explosive. They've got some very dangerous players on their first and second line, and also their defensemen, for the most part, all of them move the puck really well and they get involved. And you see, obviously, they're playing very well lately. I believe they've got 11 wins in the last 14 games, and the goaltending that they get when they do make mistakes, their goaltending's been phenomenal during this stretch. So, they've got a good team. When they do make mistakes, they're getting some really key saves. I think the most part, with their team, just they've got some very dynamic, dangerous players that you giving them an opportunity, they capitalize on it.
You've had a few measuring stick games on home ice here where you've come up significantly short. Do you feel like your team is in a different place heading into this one, and how so?
I certainly hope we are. I think the 2 of the last 3 games have been very underwhelming performances by our team, against very good teams. Minnesota is one of the best teams in the league right now, especially with the way they're playing. It's going to be another test like we had the previous games. So, I like our energy. I like how we're engaged. We're a lot better defensively. We're tighter. And we're going to need that against this team. They really capitalize on mistakes. So we're going to have minimize our mistakes, but also be in a position to defend after those situations occur.
Chris, your defensive game, as you mentioned, wasn't where you wanted it to be a lot. That Seattle game it was, but the penalty kill specific, going 6 for 6, including almost 2 minutes in a 5-on-3. What did you see that was consistent on your penalty kill that you hope to build on in December?
I think there was just a lot of, there was some block shots. There was a couple that I think of, and one nuggy on the 5-on-3. But everyone just being on their toes, ready to attack, especially on loose pucks. A team has a shot. It's a 5-on-4. You probably have to give up something, and you try to minimize what that shot looks like, and it's not a dangerous shot. But anytime there was a loose puck, I thought we did a really good job of attacking that puck and getting some clears, getting that puck down the ice. And usually when things break down, I think about our 2 power play goals against Seattle. We recovered pucks and then scored. I think for us, the key for us having those kills were we were able to get the recovers, we were able to get the puck down the ice, we were able to get changes where Seattle didn't win those battles. We did. We were ended up extending our offensive zone time and then capitalizing. So I don't know. I think the biggest thing for us, we didn't change our system, just emphasis on certain aspects. I think it was just the players being on their toes, playing on their instincts, and then getting those clears so we can get fresh bodies out there. And that being said, as good as the penalty kill was, it was 100%. But we also had some key saves from our goaltender, and we need that on a penalty kill.
All right. That is head coach Chris Knobloch as the Oilers get set to take on the Minnesota Wild. And we welcome in our old friend, Sarah McClellan, covering the Wild for the Star Tribune. I don't know, are you in town, Sarah, or are you back in Minnie? What's going on? I know I said to everyone, you're an Edmonton girl. You lived in Phoenix, covered the Coyotes for a while, and then you moved up to Minnie to cover the Wild a few years ago. Where's Sarah at right now?
I am in Edmonton. I will be at the game tonight in person.
Well, we got the snow for you. It came in last week. I'm assuming you're hanging out with family. What's going on? How have you been lately, and how excited are you to be back in town?
Yeah, it's great. It's a little bit colder than I'm used to, mind you. In Minnesota, a lot of snow last week, so it's kind of familiar right now. This time of year, it's hockey weather. I expect it. It'll be an interesting game tonight. Kind of 2 teams that started out really similarly, but have taken very different trajectories over the last month. So I'm very intrigued to see how this matchup goes tonight.
Well, Edmonton has yet to put together an actual winning streak this season. They've rattled off back-to-back wins a few times, but no more than 2 in a row. Minnie coming off a huge heater. Let's talk about that winning streak. I know a lot of people lamenting Jesper Wallstedt and the Oilers not taking him and trading down a few years ago at the draft and how good he's been this year. Tell us what is clicking with this young goaltender, Sarah.
Well, he looks, not to maybe pour salt in the wound for Oilers fans, but he's playing as he was hyped to play. This is the player that the Wild drafted. This is what, he was supposed to be. Very technically sound, very textbook, very in the right place at the right time. He's not athletic in the sense of reaching for saves. He doesn't have to chase saves. He's not swimming around the crease and having to rely on his athleticism is what I mean. He has a lot of shots hit him and stick. And if they don't, he covers up rebounds really well, really quickly. So it's kind of gone hand in hand over the last month for the Wild's turnaround. They're defending a lot better, but it also starts with their goaltending where they're not so much under so much duress like they were the first month of the season, and they were giving up a lot of goals, a lot of grade A's, a lot of quality chances. So this is who Wallstead was supposed to be. He's playing up to his billing. He was actually supposed to be more in the league last season. They actually thought they'd do a 3-goalie system with Philip Gustafson, him, and Marc-Andre Fleury. But the problem was they got hurt early, and they didn't have the cap space to be able to keep him on the roster. So they had to send him down just to basically replenish their lineup because of all the injuries they had. So he went from potentially getting, not maybe regular starts, but, enough playing time in the NHL to kind of kickstart his NHL career, to being down in the minors. And that was tough for him. It was tough mentally for him to adjust. He struggled on the ice. It was really tough for him between the ears, and it was a low point for him. So then obviously, Fleury retires. He's the clear-cut backup coming into the season. I think that, having that clear-cut, knowing where he's going to be, I think that really helped him coming into the season. And now he's worked himself into a goalie rotation with Gustafson. It's been every other game for the two of them for the last few weeks. So a real, feel-good bounce-back story for him. It was a tough year last year, but this is who he was supposed to be from the time he was drafted.
And it's obviously good to see from a Minnesota standpoint, but with Gustafson, who's coming off a really good year as well, how does that rotation work? Like, what if Wallstedt puts up another shutout? Who gets the start in the next game? Is it a true rotation regardless of performance, or is it win and you're in right now with these two?
It is a true rotation because they each have pitched shutouts recently, and they've gone to the other goalie the next game. A shutout doesn't mean you keep the net. So no, they are doing a pure rotation right now, and their plan is to keep it rolling as long as both guys are playing well, and they are. Wallstead's last victory Friday afternoon was a shootout win over Colorado to snap Colorado's win streak. And now, they went to Gustafson the next night back-to-back. They lost in a shootout to Buffalo. But now it's Wallstead tonight because that's the next game. And so he goes from facing Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar to Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So, like I said, I think this will be interesting because you do wonder at some point, will the veteran card, be played? Will they go to Gustafson in a matchup like that? And they didn't. Or, will they give Wallstead more of the net because he is yet to lose in regulation for this team? But so far, they are sticking true to this alternating every other game, and it's working for them. And you know what? It's not a goalie controversy the way I see it, because it really is a luxury. To have two guys playing, have them rested, have them get practice reps still in when they do practice. There's a lot of teams that would like just one bona fide starter. They're playing two right now. So I see that as a luxury for them and not a liability and not a controversy.
Hey, what's that thing? Salt in the wound that you mentioned? This is a market that would love a good goalie right now. So yeah, that made me chuckle as I was listening to you. Sarah McClellan joining us now for the Star Tribune, getting us set for the Oilers and the Wild. You can text us 780-218-9999. Jump into the chat if you're watching over on YouTube. All right, so some injuries from some veterans. And the Wild continue to roll without these vets. Rossi, Foligno, Hinostroza. Who's kind of picked up the slack while these guys have been out, or who's leading the charge? I know they have some excellent weapons in Kaprizov, and Zuccarello is kind of a timeless or ageless little wonder, and other good players. But who's picked up the slack with some key veterans out?
Well, those two for sure. This was a team that when they turned the page on such a poor October, it really lined up with Matt Zuccarello's return. He missed the first month of the season injured. And so since he's been back in the lineup, they went on that run. They went on the win streak. They went on the point streak. So he's really been just a solidifying, steadying factor in their lineup. He brought a lot of balance that they were missing because they were kind of top heavy without him in their lineup. But he's brought some balance, and he has just picked up where he's left off with his chemistry with Kirill Kaprizov. The run he's been on lately, I think last I checked, he's third in goals in the league. And I think, 9 of those goals have been since Zuccarello came back in the lineup, the last 10 plus games or so. So he's really, the chemistry has really been key for the Wild. But then Matt Boldy also, he's able to play on a second line, and they can kind of spread the wealth now. They don't need to load up their first line. So they kind of have Boldy on this shutdown line with Joel Eriksson Ek and Marcus Johansson. So yeah, they will probably see, either McDavid or Draisaitl tonight, a heavy dose, but they do really well. And Boldy has really become he's kind of this new age superstar, right? Because he can score goals, he puts up points, he's on the power play, but he kills penalties. He's out late in games protecting leads. He does it all for them. And probably, in Kaprizov's limelight, Kaprizov is the superstar of this team, but Boldy's right there with him. And I think, being able to be that all-around player, it's been very key for them because that line gets a lot of tough matchups, whether it's the McKinnon, the Eichel line. They're going to see one of two tonight, probably regularly. And they do really well at that. And Boldy is a threat. He's a threat, I think, obviously in the offensive zone with his shot, but he's relentless on the puck. And I think that type of defending style has really helped the Wild get out of their own zone, get up ice, and not have to play as much defense, which they were doing too much early in the season. So I'd say those two. And then, with the addition of Zuccarello, it's really given them a lot more texture to their offense up front, just another playmaker in the mix. And it's just put everybody in the spots they're supposed to be. And it's clicking for them. And they look like the Wild of old lately.
Again, good problems to have and making a lot of people around here very jealous. So we'll see if the Oilers can continue to build on their win on Saturday in Seattle. We've got Sarah McClellan with us, getting you ready for tonight's matchup. Play Alberta, Sarah. Sarah has the over-under set at 6.5. I know the Wild aren't like a high-powered scoring team. There's teams that have outscored them quite a bit. And then they don't let in a lot either. So what type of game do you foresee tonight down at Rogers Place?
Yeah, they're better suited for kind of that low-scoring struggle. For them in Colorado, like I said last week, to go real toe-to-toe with a 2-2 game. And that was, I think Colorado had to score that equalizer late. So that's in their wheelhouse. Keep it tight checking, very opportunistic. So, if you put them on the power play, you give them the non-man rush, they will take advantage. But just the way they want to defend, quick out, easy out, box out, be physical, that suits them. They don't want to get into a track meet with Edmonton. That is a surefire way for them to have trouble, letting the neutral zone kind of get loosey-goosey and opening up lanes. They want to stay away from that. So that's something they have to be mindful of. They have perennially, this is a matchup that has suited Minnesota because I think they've been able to exert their style more than Edmonton has in the matchup the last few seasons. But you're right, Edmonton, like you said, coming off a win, they're probably feeling better about the strides they're making. And Minnesota kind of got, caught Saturday against a struggling Sabres team. So if they're not sharp and they're not locked in, even though they'd won 7 in a row, they can be vulnerable. So I think that's probably a timely lesson for them, with the opponents they have coming up on this road trip. It could be very successful, but they could also find themselves, facing a handful if they let these other teams kind of exert their style and dictate the way they want the game to go rather than for Minnesota.
Sarah, you were one of the best and have been for a long time, and I always appreciate your time and you jumping on my shows always. So I look forward to seeing you down at the rink, and thank you once again.
Sounds good, Tom. You take care. All
right, there's Sarah McClellan, Star Tribune. She is excellent. Check her stuff out on Twitter. And someone wrote in, yikes, Phoenix to Minnesota. That's a downgrade weather-wise. Yes, but a huge upgrade in terms of coverage. And as we know, Phoenix is now the Utah Mammoth, as Reed Wilkins likes to call them. And Sarah is covering a team that is very relevant in its market in Minnesota. Good stuff there from Sarah. Big thank you to her for stopping by and jumping on the show. She said she was out and about with her family today.
Oh, really?
And I was like, it's getting to be that time of year. So, good stuff from Sarah. Edmonton girl originally, and moved down to Phoenix when she was young. So really cool story. Benny, what do you got?
I'm excited, man. Like, this has been, obviously we've seen the highs and lows from this team this year, and it's felt like a roller coaster, but that's typical Oilers hockey. I really, really believe that this 5-game homestand says a lot about this team. I think we'll be able to fully say what kind of team this Oilers team is by the end of this 5-game homestand. And they start off with probably their hardest competition in the first game of the homestand with the Minnesota Wild. They've been red hot. Their October was not very good, but their November was damn good. So the standings, like, they could have been a lot higher if they had even just a solid October. But I'm very curious to see what kind of team we see tonight, obviously, because it's past 3 or 4 games have been pretty damn good. And then you have the one ridiculous game on home ice against a good hockey team. Is this game like a Dallas Stars Colorado Avalanche game where this red hot Western Conference team comes in and just blows them up in front of their home fans? I don't think that's going to happen tonight.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like two's a streak technically, and that's what's happened with some big boy West teams coming in. So. Once again, I don't think it'll happen tonight, but I'm very curious to see how this Oilers team is playing against the Minnesota Wild team and how they do over their 5-game homestand.
You can't get much worse than that 8-3 loss and the 9-1 loss at home. So maybe lesson learned. I hope for the sake of everybody, lesson learned, and we can all move on and not be grumpy about things. All right. You could text us 780-218-9999. Why can't we have nice things like Minnesota does? I'm kidding. Although that would be nice. Let's go to the text line. This one says, when Janmark was out, I was actually looking forward to him coming back to see what energy he would bring. It was foolish of me to think he would provide much of anything. He has to be one of the most frustrating players to watch. I also don't think his penalty killing is enough to keep him in the lineup when they're healthy. Yeah, he's not flashy. That's for darn sure. How about this one? Says, hey, gents, would you guys agree that the Oilers play best when the other team plays dirty and it brings the emotion levels up? I think the Oilers need a bona fide poop disturber to bring the energy levels up. Clattenburg might be it eventually, but I don't want to get ahead of myself with him. Maybe a Wilson, makes too much money, or Foligno type. Cheers. Yes, I would agree with them being engaged emotionally and other teams, getting a little bit dirty and mucking it up with them. And then that gets them going. They don't really shy away from it. I mean, they haven't at times this year, but when they're angry and a little bit disturbed and they get a little bit dirty as well, I think it brings everybody into the fight, if you will, drags them in. And that happened last year too. Remember how we talked about all the fights that they would have early in the season? It would, yeah, they won like every game for the first couple months where they had a fight. There's something to it, that emotional uplifting that comes with it. Everybody feels involved and wants to go out there and do something for their teammates. I definitely agree with that thought process. And, now Clattenburg has been good. Go out, do more of that, kid. And yes, he probably needs some more seasoning, but until his game takes a dip or he's not as effective as he has been in the minimal minutes that he has gotten, let him go out there and do it. That's okay.
That to me is the biggest thing. There haven't been a whole lot of guys on this team that felt like they've wanted to play for their roster spot. You know what I mean? Like, I look at guys like David Tomaszek, who, I just feel like he's done a whole lot of meh and just kind of like faded into the abyss, and it just hasn't really shown up yet. Like, Clattenburg showed up and goes, okay, I know how I play, and I'm going to do it in the NHL. I don't care where I'm playing. Like, I'm playing this style. I don't care what the score is. I don't care the stakes, anything. I'm going to play the way I am. And I thought Joaquin Gage made a really good point on Dusty's show yesterday morning. I ended up clipping it about how Clattenburg, I believe they're up 4-0, and Clattenburg flat out just doesn't care about the score. Goes and runs a guy. Then takes a fight. You know what I mean? Like the typical Oilers we would have seen. They're up 4-0. Oh, we can sit back. Oh, we can. Okay, if they score 1 or 2, whatever. Like, we're gonna win this game anyway. It doesn't really matter. Clattenburg's like, F that. Like, let me go run a guy, fight a guy, keep the stakes high, intensity high, and show that we're not a team to be pushed around. And who knows if he's going to be able to do this for the rest of the season. It's tough to say. He's a 20-year-old, but if he can continue to do that, man, like it's hard to pull him out of the lineup.
Yeah, good. That's a good problem to have. Like, he's forcing you to play him, and you're sitting a 29-year-old European guy that you signed hoping that he would do something, and he really is Roman Cervenka 2.0, even worse, maybe. I still I love that when they signed him, I asked some people like, who is this guy? Like led the SHL in scoring, Czech guy. And I was told, remember Roman Cervenka? I was like, yeah, that's a weird name to pull out of a hat. And they go, kind of like him. Oh. And then Cervenka had like 17 points in 39 games or something like that with the Flames 10 years ago. I think he's still playing and he's in his late 30s. But wow. I was like, so that's what you did? You got Roman Cervenka 2.0. He's a healthy scratch, by the way, tonight. So yeah. Anyway, keep those texts coming in. Let's get to your game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta. Play Alberta. When you do it, it stays in Alberta, safe and secure. The revenue generated from Play Alberta is redirected into Alberta's General Revenue Fund, which is used to support programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. Your money line for tonight, Edmonton minus 152, Mini plus 129. I find that bizarre. Considering the body of work recently from both teams. I know the Oilers have been playing better lately, minus the game last week against Dallas, but that's interesting. When I saw that, I was like, oh, okay. The over-under set at 6.5, like I mentioned with Sarah earlier, the 6.5 over at plus 106, the under at minus 135. That is your game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta, presenting sponsor of Edmonton Sports Talk, our fine station here, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. And remember, use your game sense. Benny, I had a few other texts that I wanted to get to. This one comes in from Tube Socks. What up, Tube Socks? Says, Clattenburg storms into the Oilers' orbit like a caffeinated thunderbolt, the kind of unhinged human spark plug you bring in when the walls are sweating and the vibes are on life support. The team needs juice, and this man is juice, fermented, electrified, bottled in a mason jar, and slapped with a warning label. He's the guy who walks into Rogers Place with a grin that says, let chaos be the game plan. He's the jolt to the collective bloodstream, the deranged hype priest banging a drum, soaked in gasoline. Tube Socks, that was beautiful. That was poetic. Oh, yeah.
I had to find something for that. I ran a clicks for that, too. What a
I'll throw some clicks out.
What a description.
Very good. Very good. Tube Socks. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. This text says, Pitlick was most recently an Oiler in 2017. Holy cow. Time is flying. Yeah, he was picked in the second round in 2010. Still going.
Still going. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. I was surprised to see him on the roster. Oh, he's still going. Good for him.
He is. Good for him. Yeah. A really nice guy and managed to become a decent bottom six player for a long time. It's funny. It's like you're running into these old Oilers that were, on the team or drafted by the team, went to camp with the team. Like I see Stéphane Legault, former Oil King, played for Nate and then the U of A. I run into him downtown a lot, and Legs went to rookie camp with the Oilers, and he's talking about like a house and his girlfriend and building a place and his lawn. And I'm like, what the hell happened? Yeah, we're getting old. And who is the other one? Oh, Greg Chase. Chase. He's a scout now for Philly. Yeah. And Greg's always at games. And I always talk to him. And I'm just like, geez, I remember when you were drafted, he came in with McDavid. And I remember I think they played in Penticton, or they had a rookie camp together and they were on a line together. And, Greg played for the Condors for a bit, and now he's a scout, and you're just like, oh my God, who's also always around? Boyd Gordon.
Oh yeah.
Scouting for
Boyd
Detroit.
Gordon.
Yeah. You see Gordo around.
Wizard.
Yeah. And he always got like the furrowed brow to, hey Tom, how's it going? Good to see you. And it's just neat seeing these guys who used to be on the team or were drafted by the team, and now they're just old guys now. We're all old guys. Oh, well. Yes, Tyler Pitlick was an Oiler in 2017, still kicking it in the National Hockey League with the Wild this year. He's a Minnesota boy, too. All right. Really quickly, I'll get you the lines and the starting goalies one more time, and then we'll get to some final thoughts, and we'll get you set and off and running to catch the Oilers and the Wild. For the Oil tonight, same lineup. Got the job done on Saturday, which was great. McDavid between Savoy and Hyman. Draisaitl centering Podkolzin and Mangiapane. Nugent Hopkins with Henrique and Janmark. Lazar between Frederick and Clattenburg. Let's see what Clattenburg can do tonight. Ekholm with Bouchard on defense. Nurse with Regula. Kulak with Emerson. No Tomaszek for the Oil unless something has changed. I haven't checked on Twitter. The Wild expected to go with Hartman between Kaprizov and Zuccarello. Eriksson Ek with Johansson and Boldy. Sturm with Trenin and Tarasenko. Jones between Ogren and Tyler Pitlick, who we were just talking about. On defense, Brodin with Faber. Middleton with Spurgeon. Byam with Bogosian. Danila Yurov is out. He's a bit nicked up as well. Your starting goalies for tonight: 27-year-old Stu Skinner for the Oil, 2-2 lifetime versus the Wild, 304 goals against average, 900 save percentage in those 4 appearances. And then Jesper Wallstedt, the 23-year-old, 7-0-2 this year, 193 goals against average, 938 save percentage, 3 shutouts in 9 games this year, facing the Oil for the first time in his career. Advanced Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy injury report had Roslovic, Wallman, Philp, and Kapanen out for the Oilers. Minnesota has Rossi, Foligno, and Hinostroza on the IR. All 3 of those guys with lower body issues. All right, Benny, a couple minutes here. What do you got? Final thoughts.
I love this comment by Derek Robertson in the Nasty Chat. Roslovic will be this year's trade deadline acquisition. No, we don't. The Oilers don't have Kenny Holland anymore, so I don't have to hear that quote every year from some guy that returned from injury around the trade deadline as their acquisition. But I found that funny. That just brings back a lot of memories with that whole for those couple of years. It's pretty funny.
Oh boy, right. That's a good one. Let's see how the Oilers do. I mean, sometimes they rise to the level of their opponent. I like the killer instinct we saw on Saturday. They're going to need to be the same way like they were against the Kraken, maybe even a little bit better against a Wild team that's feeling good. I'm baffled by Buffalo and the teams that they have beaten this year.
Yeah, they're so
and the way that they've lost games, and Buffalo gets the shootout win over the Wild to snap the 7-game win. Like, that's crazy to me. So we'll see. We'll see what we get from these 2 teams. It would be nice to see a high-scoring game, but it doesn't seem likely. The over-under set at 6.5 on Play Alberta. All right, buddy. That was a good pregame show.
It was a great pregame show, and I can't wait for the postgame.
Yeah. Andrea says, have fun in the press box, Tommy. Yes, always a good time. Always a good time. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. A big thank you to Sarah McClellan from the Star Tribune. Great stuff, giving us the scoop on the Wild. And then Bellsy will be back on the postgame show with myself and Benny. For the boys, I'm Tommy. Say enjoy the Oilers and Mini, and we'll see you in a couple of hours. Ciao for now.